Hey guys, welcome back to EAK TV. We are here at Solana Crossroads back in Istanbul with my good friend Burçak Ünsal from Unsal Law. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Erhan.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
It's great to have you here. I'm really interested in learning more about the kind of legal landscape in Turkish market. I get asked a lot of time from international projects, as I'm sure you do. Like, what is the current landscape? So why don't you give us a quick rundown of the current legal landscape for Web3 in Turkey?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Currently, there is no licensing or registration requirements for exchanges, central exchanges, wallet projects, custody services, or token launching projects. But there are definitely certain regulations here and there scattered around different bodies of law. For example, there's a regulation issued by the central bank which is banning the acquisition of services, purchase of services and goods with crypto.
Yeah.
And they are restricting money transfers only via banks registered in Turkey, licensed in Turkey. So they are keeping a track of who is sending the money out of where to what exchange. And of course, they would like to keep it away from securities regulations to the extent they could. But to be honest, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Turkey so far didn't launch any investigations or prosecutions against any token project claiming that it is actually security, or didn't initiate any investigations or press charges on any exchange about violation of Securities and Exchange Commission securities regulations. So actually we can still call it's a liberal market, but we definitely have to follow CTF requirements, counter-terror financing requirements, AML and KYC requirements, and we definitely have to categorize the type of token we are issuing here. Because the fact that there is no single regulation now doesn't mean that your project will not be scrutinized. Actually, they could do that. And if they find that you are violating securities or banking regulations, then you may face the consequences. So there's a little bit of vagueness, but I think we can beat that or even turn it into opportunity if we follow the best practices and our international experience.
So it sounds like there's still some uncertainty.
Exactly.
And as a project, of course, you should be following the right footsteps.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that it's something that you obviously help them with.
That's right.
What would your advice be if you were speaking to the Turkish government right now in terms of like how they should put together the regulation? What would you tell them?
Right, definitely. Of course, we don't want this to be wild west for sure. We want the know-how, experience, investment, and technology to come to Turkey, right?
Of course.
And to benefit from it as an ecosystem. That's why I believe a reasonable registration would be very helpful, so that many central exchanges can know what to comply, how to organize their administrative system, how to organize their legal system and legal requirements, their contracts, so on and so forth. That would be very helpful. And another very vital thing would be for the Securities and Exchange Commission of Turkey give a guideline about how they will categorize the type of tokens, like the stable token, utility token, security token, under what circumstances they can be exempted from registration, so that everybody would know where to invest, how to invest, what token to choose. This kind of not overkill, but a reasonable, a sensible regulation would be very important for Turkey to be able to grasp the opportunity. I think there is a wide vacuum. There has been a vacuum in the geography in the, let's say, Middle East and Southeast Europe after the FTX crash.
Yeah.
And if we come up with sensible and technology-friendly regulations, then that would serve as an opportunity for Turkey.
And the opportunity is so big for Turkey right now. I mean,
definitely.
I'm not old enough to remember like last time there was like a technological financial revolution of this kind like in Turkey. I know the gaming scene is big and used to be very big, like the mobile gaming here, but I don't know if it was as buzzing as this was.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fantastic opportunity. Of course, regulation, we want to have regulation, like you said, that doesn't stifle innovation but gives confidence to companies that want to start their business here in Turkey and hire this
Exactly.
great talent that we can see here today from all the blockchain clubs and things of that nature. So
Exactly.
hopefully that's what we get. So back in 2019, 2020, you know, there were lots of exchanges jumping into Turkey. It almost
Yes.
was like a train load, you know, like literally every exchange you can hear of. But
That's
then
what it
obviously
was.
some of them have already like jumped out again. Some are still here, which is good. But like, what happened? Like, what happened? It was such a rush. Like, and
That's right,
I want to know
that's
what
right.
what the situation was.
Yes, actually, as a law firm, we helped a number of them to launch their business in Turkey, and we helped all of them to establish their nodal accounts, their customer accounts, which was very tough actually, because there was not a single compliance requirement, and the compliance departments of the banks were treating them differently. But somehow we worked it out. But later, unfortunately, also thanks to the bear market, some of them pulled out altogether, and some of them shrinked their scale of business. And the fact that there is an uncertainty about derivative transactions or leveraged transactions also warding them off. So this lack of reasonable and sensible regulation and lack of sustainability guidelines, unfortunately harming the ones which are trying to do good investment, or because the people or the projects and the exchanges which would like to really do a good job is still waiting for the regulation to come in. So the fact that you are not coming up with a good regulation, a reliable regulation, is actually allowing only those which can think that they can somehow navigate the situation, you know?
So I believe that we're talking about some of the best Turkic exchanges here, like Paribu, BTC Turk.
Yes.
I know that they do some great things, but
Yeah.
they're also concerned because the regulation landscape isn't clear.
No doubt.
And the international guys are coming in and maybe have been a little bit reckless, I think it's fair to say.
That's right, and you still cannot differentiate the ones which are doing a really good job, like the ones you mentioned, because they are coming from banking backgrounds. They are implementing whatever they have learned in that heavily regulated industry, but maybe it is also an overkill. And for example, they are not letting non-Turkish residents trade on their own platforms, which is actually creating a de facto competition problem for them. So they could have done that, but they are trying not to do it. They are avoiding that scalability.
I see. So look, you know, this year I think, and something I talk about a lot in these interviews is that, we had the rush of the exchanges, which was good for business, but it wasn't so good in terms of it made Turkey look like such a speculative market, which ultimately is quite immature. Whereas now we're seeing great projects like Solana, Cosmos, Ethereum, all coming in doing hackathons, which is fantastic. Finally, I think we're starting to see the market mature. We should be seeing some good Turkish projects come out, hopefully in the next few years. What would your advice be to, I mean, there's hackathons happening all the time now, so there's projects starting up, there are potential, people that you might work with, I might work with. What would your advice be for that, legal advice for those guys?
Yes, definitely. My advice would be not to miss the opportunity to come and establish their presence in Turkey now. I mean, it's the time. Because if they come and practice sensibility, and if they adopt the best practices that they already can acquire from elsewhere in the world, then they can use their grandfathering rights when the licensing and registration requirements are enacted. And the fact that there is not a single requirement or regulation in Turkey doesn't mean that we don't know what to do. We know very well what to do, and we are actually advising Turkish projects to go to the US, to go to Europe, to go to Far East, and we know the experience. We are reviewing their regulations, and we have a good amount of experience. If we can use that for their localization in Turkey, then they will be able to start their business now very safely, very compliant, and then they will be able to continue doing that when the registration is out. So this is the time to come. It is still less costly in terms of fees, in terms of registration fees, which is inexistent for the time being. Then after they start making money out of their business in Turkey, then they will finance all the upcoming registration fees and so on and so forth with the money that they will already be making. So I think it will be a self-financing business model if they come to Turkey right now.
Got it. Okay, so like, I have seen, the government. So, we had a speaker from the government at Istanbul Blockchain Week. They also they sponsored some hackathons I saw, and so that's quite interesting. I've never seen that before. And so, what do you think like their current thought process is on, and I'll say blockchain technology itself?
Yes, I think Turkish regulatory authorities are not against blockchain, are not against cryptocurrency. Just to the opposite, I think they are quite friendly to it. I think the fact that they are refraining from regulating it is to create almost like a de facto sandbox in Turkey. They are observing everything. And if there is a reason why they should interfere, actually they are doing it by using MASAK. MASAK is the counterpart of financial task force in Turkey.
Right.
And for example, they are suspending some of the projects' bank accounts or asking questions, investigating, so on and so forth. And if they are not taking any action, I think the fact that they are remaining dormant also should give us a message. So when the regulations will be out, I am almost 100% sure that it will not be counterproductive. It will not be very stringent like in China or elsewhere. And the fact that they are avoiding or refraining from doing the regulations right now is actually a testament to the fact that they are crypto friendly. This may sound odd, but I believe this is the way I interpret it.
Okay. And when do you think we might see some regulation? Because this has been spoken about for years now.
That's right.
And it still hasn't come yet. So
actually, we have been expecting it for the last 12 months.
12 months.
Yeah, 12 months, but it didn't come out. And to be honest, if the bill, the draft that we have seen is correct, it would be better for that not to come out right now. And the elections are upon us in May. So after all the dust will settle, probably not before 9 months or so, we will see a subtle difference in the regulatory environment.
Okay, cool. So, as you know, we've got Istanbul Blockchain Week coming back in August. You were a speaker at our first event.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me.
Hopefully
Definitely.
you'll be back.
Thank you. With pleasure.
What was your experience like at the first Istanbul Blockchain Week?
It was perfect. Actually, it was the best event in 2022. And I'm sure that it will be even better this year around because I see the date. It's in August. Yeah. It's the time to be in Istanbul.
Exactly.
So everybody should travel over here and experience for themselves. It's the best event in Turkey.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean,
my honest opinion.
You've heard it from Burçak himself.
My honest opinion.
So listen, where can more people learn about you and what you do and your company?
Thank you very much. I'm active on Twitter. And we have a webpage, unsallaw.com. So there where we also share some information, know-how about the ongoings. So they can reach us via our webpage and via Twitter.
Cool. Well, look, we will put that in the description below. Burçak, thanks so much for your time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Guys, that's EAK TV at Solana Crossroads in Istanbul. We'll see you again next time.